Welcome back to Railroads Online. I'm Rever, and we are still trying to get 200 barrels of oil. So, what I did in the last episode, or between the episodes, in the last episode, we took one load of coal down to the iron mine, which is down this way. Let's take a look at the map again. We're back here at the sawmill by the Grand Rail intersect, or Grand Rail siding, Grand intersection, whatever we want to call it. It's just my name for it. Even if it's not grand, it's still, well, to me it is. That's all that counts. In any event, up this way is where we head off to the smelter. Down that way is the iron mine. So when I came up here, what I realized and I thought about was we now need to go what we have down there is at the ironworks down that way. We have 46 pipes, and it was my plan at one point to take 17 flat cars down to back and forth, right? So that would have been 51, which means we would end up too short. We wouldn't have quite enough. So in other words, what I decided to do, and then if you remember, we also lost one of the rail cars in the fiasco that was over, a few episodes ago where the cars were flipping off the tracks. So I went and bought one more car to replace the one. This would be our 17th, the replacement. And this is the 18th and 19th. So that we can now carry, we're going to take a trip. We have 13 down there with iron already loaded up. We have the 2 here. So if we take 18 cars, that would be 54, which will be 108 iron in 2 trips from the smelter up here over to the ironworks. And that'll get us just enough. Now we have to do all of this now because we don't have enough space to haul more. We need to get these out of the way so we can then haul more up to the coal mine. And then once we have those up at the coal mine, we'll be good to go on getting more coal down to the ironworks. So at this point, we only have like 20 coal or something like that up there. Let me not hit G, let me hit F. Yeah, just log back in. It's actually the next day after all that action that I did. So I think I have all the switches switched the right way. So what I did was bought these cars just to save us a few minutes. And then I'll show you as we go by here. I left the iron ore cars back over here on the track. It's one of the single player advantages, right? I guess you would probably, if you were in a multiplayer server, you probably would not want to leave those right there. Somebody might get annoyed at you. So we're going to pull in there. We're going to pick up those 2 rail cars. We're going to pull back over to here. Then we'll hook back up to those iron ore cars or the coal cars. And we'll be able to leave them there. I was definitely, at one point I was thinking, boy, it would be nice to get more cars for the coal. I definitely want to up that to 100, but between not really having enough money and at this point, I don't need that much coal. I've already taken 2 trips. So down there, we have 54 coal, plus we already have 46 things. So our biggest problem is we can't make a mistake because we're going to bring 50 more coal, right? And so we'll have just enough coal to make 150 steel pipes. And then we'll have a few extra tools, but we can't mess up on our steel pipes. If we drop one on the ground and it disappears, we're kind of done at that point. So we are on a thin wire here. We're not done. We're just gonna we'll have to go do another load of stuff, which is not exactly what we want to do at this moment, right? So in other words, normally I wouldn't do that. I didn't plan it out to be that tight, nor do I want it to be that tight. Just so you know, at the ironworks now we have no iron, right? Because we have the 54 coal, and we're not filled up on the tools and the steel pipe side of it. So we could easily accept this 50, and then to have a couple extra of these cars are the cheapest ones. They're $250, hardly going to break the bank to get a couple extra of these. Now the other thought I had was, where do I want to leave these cars? And more, the answer is, it seems like they would be better left at the smelter. but we'll see. I'm not really convinced that, but it's certainly, I think, would make some sense if we did. I'm going a little bit fast there, aren't I? Slowed down nicely. Look at that. Nice tap. That's exactly what you want. Well, that was the... Never mind. That was a pro slowdown. I don't know if I have a link in there. Especially not after rebooting. So we got 3 cars, and then this is... Yeah, no, I don't have a link, do I? Might have had one yesterday, but I noticed these links are not the save and the links. I at times I would have sworn that I had a link in there. And I'm pretty sure I put one in there yesterday because I knew I was coming right down here, but hopefully that's enough. Yeah. There we go. So the most exciting thing, so today's trip, just so you guys know what we're in for, is going to be 18 cars. Can we do 18 cars? I think that's reasonably impressive. I know there's other people doing a lot more, but I think it'll be a good test of, can we even make it up that hill? This is not a given foregone conclusion, right? We're starting at the bottom of the hill at the smelter. I'm not sure that we have the extra oomph to make it up, but we're going to give it a go. You know, there was part of me that was saying, well, I know I could make it up with the logging cars when I had the 13 cars, you know, these cars, 13 of them coming, but they were all empty, you know, so I really don't even know if we're going to make it up our bridge. Now, fortunately, we made things a little bit smoother in our improvements. Oh, you know what? What's this sound like? Why don't we take the brakes off? And let's even check this one. This one seems to be, somebody suggested that you could put just a little bit of brake on here. Maybe even a little more than that, but these 3 should be fine. It's these 2. And they definitely stayed attached, and other people have made comments that the way I've been starting to bunch the cars together or put them on a hill, I think one of the reasons that I didn't have problems originally is like some of these trains over here they were naturally down in a slope, so they stayed together. They didn't ever go far apart. So definitely, I think wouldn't be a bad thing if you did build a yard like this. You could, if you really wanted to be fancy, you could put both ends up a little bit and have like a gradual kind of slope to the middle. I don't know. That seems like a lot to me. This whole area is just perfectly level. But hey, if you were having fun building your system, yeah, there's definitely part of me that thinks we're going to get done. Let's just say we didn't have to go through all this back and forth between the coal, which is another argument, in my opinion, for why we would just want 2 separate trains, right? But even if we had 2 separate trains, I don't know, are we going to have a separate train to run the logs, the beams and the rails up to the coal mine versus running this iron ore down to the iron works? And it seems to me that we could leave these cars someplace. I guess we could leave them, well, really the smelter, right, where you could pick up more or less depending on which trip you were taking. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Now, we might leave some of these here, right, because we would leave 13 of them here. Then you would leave the extra ones over by the smelter. Or is it the fact is that you're going to make your last trip down to, yeah, I guess you're going to make your last trip down to the ironworks, and you're going to have 18 or whatever number of cars you choose to bring. Yeah, I think we stopped, right? Did I stop too soon? No, perfect. Little, barely not perfect because it was kind of too tight. All right, there we go. So now we should get this main line should be back in the right switching that we should be able to head up there. It really shouldn't be much signal switching. A little bit to get all this yard work done, but let's take the brake off. We need to give it some fire too before we run out of that. All right, so then when we get down there, we're going to have to back into, or pull through. I guess we can, yeah, it's probably the easiest just to pull right on in there. Can't really see too well. Biggest thing I always do is, there we go, we got there. I can tell from the thump. I find it's better to have the brakes on when we do that. And you know what I didn't do? I didn't check for a link again. Gosh darn it. You would think eventually I would learn. Not like I wasn't just there thinking about it 10 seconds ago, knowing I had to attach something else. That's probably enough. Let me put some heat in there just before because we're going to start losing that. I don't want to lose the water temperature. Losing the water temperature is what stinks because then you can't go, right? Like you can lose all your fire temperature and it just comes right back with no effect on you. It's just when you start losing that water temperature. You see, we're starting to lose it a bit, so we run out of steam. And I read some comments about, making the steam thing more realistic. At this point, it's certainly possible, but it's not like it's that realistic now. And I'm not sure if they're going to, how realistic would you really want it to be? I know they were talking, there's a railroad place not too far from me, like a museum. Let's just check. They were saying that it takes them like 4 hours to get that locomotive going. And I'm sure they were all different, sure some were more complex and required certain things. And again, these guys aren't I'm sure things were different back in the day when you were firing that thing up every day and you had your routines and, these guys are just running a museum. So, and I'm not taking away from people that run museums, but they're probably more meticulous with things than, say, your average guy would have been back then, But even given for the fact that you could do it faster, do you really want it to take, 4 or 6 hours for this thing to heat up? Not 4 hours, 2 hours. Because I could definitely see that. When I start my wood stove up, which is really, if I jacketed my wood stove with water, it would be a boiler, right? I would say it's a good hour before that thing is, and this is only a little wood stove compared to the size of this thing, and I'm not actually trying to heat up water, right? So it's about an hour. If I could probably do it a little bit faster, but it takes about an hour for that thing to really get up to temperature where you would be ready to go pull out on the rails. And that's not, now give it some more time because you've got a relatively large vat of water here that you have to fill up or get heated up to 200 degrees. That's going to take a while. Not to mention all the little things they had to lube and check, and we don't use these cylinder cocks, There we go. So my cylinder cocks did get cut on that one time, and the reason for those is to heat these cylinders up, so there was a whole elaborate process to getting a real machine running. And there we go. We got everybody coming with us. I should have checked that sooner. Yeah, I think we should be able to pull just right on in there without switching a thing. All right, let's get going a little bit faster. So the last trip went very well. There was no issues. I did it at a nice high speed all the way up to the coal mine and all the way back. So it was good. I mean, my marker. I'm almost tempted to make. I have a marker up there that tells me to slow down in that one spot. I'm a little bit tempted to make that a little bit further ahead, because I did get to going a little bit too fast before I really got up to the marker. So I think that marker could go, and that was just running at, like, say, a speed of 19 after I got past the curved bridge over that gorge up there. I guess eventually I have to knock down that other bridge. I left it there for you guys to see. I don't know what I guess in real life they probably would leave that. I don't know. There's another situation there. They have two bridges by me that go over the C&D Canal, and they left the old bridge there, which is kind of cool. I used to drive over that bridge when my grandfather used to take me to the shore, so that's sort of nice that it's there, because the other new bridge wasn't there when I was a kid. Like I said, I think we're going to be able to go right in there, because I've been... Oh no, we can't go right in because I have this switch is wrong. So yeah, I can't really see the other one. Oh, no. Stop. There we go. Actually. All right, now the other thing we could do, if we can't get up the first time and we're kind of close, I was thinking we could possibly try to back in that way. I think it depends on how fast we can get around this turn, if it's not going to just be able to pull it up, right? I think the unfortunate thing is that this is not just going to be a matter of momentum. This is going to be a matter of... All right, so we're switched to go in there. We should be good to go down there, because I always leave it where we're not going around the bypass, right? So that way, whatever you're pulling in with a load, like if I was pulling in with more iron ore, we could go right through it. It doesn't matter as long as there's a train not in there. We should be able to pull right through. But yeah, is this, that's a heck of a hill for 18 cars, and I mean, somebody else who's played might know that we could make it, but You know, this is just the pushing the limit of both our tracks at this point, and yeah, which I thought would be fun to do, right? If I fail miserably, I think that's about a 4% slope that we built that thing with, so. You know, could we come out of here gathering speed the whole time? You know, again, I don't think it's just a momentum thing. I think that hill's too long. We'll lose all of our momentum. That might be a nice little boost, but at the end of the day, this train's just going to have to be able to pull that whole hill. And if it can't, we're just going to break free down there. That's going pretty well. It's nice. Right? Reasonably fast in here means you build it fairly well, I think. Yeah, nice and smooth. Another comment pointed out that the hills are like up and down seems to be more important. I don't know if that's true, but it certainly doesn't hurt. Right? Like I think it's the combination of the two, whether one's more important or not, I haven't been able to tell. But yes, absolutely a smooth grade as far as like slope up and down definitely will help a lot. Like there's no doubt that that's a contributing factor. Now, whether it's more than tight turns will do it too. I know that. So I don't think it's only the slopes, but yes, definitely try to get a nice smooth grade. Will go a long way in. There we go. I think we're about there. Oh, and I cut down my pine tree like an idiot. All right, so do we need to do anything special? No, I think we just need to run back. There's a pine tree here. I do wish we could replant the trees, and that was the tree that would go over the cars, and I could really see that they were there. But then I cut the thing down because I was just cutting things down. You know how that goes. I was cutting happy. Whacking whatever I saw, and I do that once in a while, like with flowers that I have in my yard or things that I don't want to kill with the weed eater, where I'm just, you know, on a roll, weed eating everything. Next thing you know, I weed eated some flower that I planted. Oops. Backwards. Backward. Why are you going forward? I just want to bunch those up officially. We're having the springy effect. I think there's way too much springy effect in these trains. I'm not sure why. That's going to be about as bunched up as I can get them. There we go. So a lot of times when I do this, I take the pin out of there and I leave it just like this. But when I come back, like that's my habit always, like the rule that I try to follow. Because then you always have a link in the last car. And so when you back into things, now that's not my excuse the whole time, but at the same time, oops, we don't want to reverse. Like in a lot of cases, I should have had a link in there. Like I'm pretty sure I left a link. Yeah, see, like now we can't go forward for some reason. Now, we do need more fire, but we shouldn't have to go up to 70 just to get rolling forward again. So something funny was happening there, obviously. Let's get that back to a nice. So now we probably, the best thing, well, yeah, the thing we're going to do is go around here this way. We got rid of those cars. When we get done, I'm going to start loading these up. Then I'll come back over here, and I need to flip those to the bypass position so that when we do come back in here, if we do. What happens after this? Well, the coal. So yes, we will be leaving these 5 cars behind because there is no other combination up there that evens it out to bring another combination of rails and beams back. So really we will be coming back from the ironworks, and yeah, we're going to pull into the grand rail siding, drop off 5 of the cars. Now we're going to have to take 2 of these trips if it works out. 3 if we have to do a lesser load. Yeah, you can see where the little side bypass that we had before would have never worked. Now loading these up would be interesting. We'll have markers. We're going to have markers like way down here if we had to load it up from scratch. I'm not sure. It's getting to be quite large trains, and this is going to flip us. Oh no, we're right. We're right. I'm sorry. Confused. This whole backwards thing with these, I don't know, for some reason it confuses me sometimes. But I think your reaction should always be just hit the brakes. Like if you're not sure that those switches are switched for you the right way, like this one's definitely not. I don't think we're going to make it. Let's see how far we can go. I'm not going to push it if that's not. Nah, we need to flip it anyway. Need to flip it to get back out of here, so. I'm going to need some more wood in there anyway. 4 should keep us moving for a little bit. Almost made that. That's all right. I think we're past the switch. Some people have asked him for a night cycle, which I don't disagree with. But I was sitting there thinking, boy, I'm the type that would, I would rather be able to plant a tree right here, but that cast a shadow like this way. See how the sun's over this way? And you could tell when you got past that point, right? And the fact that the sun is always in the same place really does help when it comes to backing these cars up as a single player. I'm sure especially. I'm sure it helps the multiplayer people too. Because I don't know how many people are running trains together versus are people just doing their own train operations. I would think that it would be more efficient to have 2 separate trains going. Then again, that kind of would defeat part of the purpose of playing together, I guess. Which would be to actually maybe run the trains together. But then again, building a thing together, even if you're working on separate parts, can be fun. Now we should have a link in there, right? This time, I think I guess it's easy enough to tell. It's the loaded one. Man, look at that. I got a smile on my face. There we go. Like a nervous smile, I guess you could call it. Yeah, I set the 2 carts on each one of these. I remember that now. Are we going to make it up that hill? I have no idea. I mean, I have no idea how people are doing. I really haven't watched that many other people's videos. Maybe way back in the very beginning. There weren't even really many. Like, I was literally playing this on day 1. Excuse me, I just happened to stumble across it. I'm not even sure how. I don't think I had it on my wish list. I'm not even sure how I saw this, but you know what? I need to push that other switch down here. Yeah, let me go do the switches. You know what? I'm just going to back this up. I'm going to load these guys up. Let me go do these switches. That'll give me a chance to go clear my throat fully. And then we'll come right back when we're ready to pull out. Sound fair? All right, 18 rail cars, fully loaded, ready to go, I think. Let's see, how's our fire? Just threw a little more fire into here. All right, we only have 43 and 200. I mean, that's kind of okay. We would give it like an extra minute just to build up a little more. We don't. I'm not too worried about this because once we make it up the hill, it's all pretty much flat land anyway. But let's go ahead now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It seems like sometimes it misclicks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Should be it, right? So there we go. So that'll get us up. Oh yeah, it got us up to 80. Perfect. All right. Well, we should be in good shape. You know what? The other thing I'm going to do. I know I just put this on. I don't want any brakes on, right? So I put that to 3%. Maybe that's a good suggestion for some of the times, but for now. Yeah, well, let's just go for it. I'm going to try to get it going as, like I said, I think I'm worried a little bit too much about the speed where I don't think the speed is going to be our biggest problem. It's just because I think we're just going to run out of any extra. It's not like we're going to like go fast enough to get up over it. You know, it's just not going to happen. This thing's going to have to pull it up a good portion of the thing. Good portion of the hill. Momentum will carry us a little bit if we had a little extra speed, but it's just not going to. So on that note, we're not going to derail before we even get out of here. Let's keep it. Now, another thing I think that's really getting people is the fact that when you slam on the brakes, right? I think that's causing some derailments. When you get into bigger and bigger trains, you have to be more and more careful about stopping because there's just a lot of force pushing. We're making it up that little slope. Going to give it full. I don't think it's going to cause us any problem. We're already on it anyway. By the time we clear that intersection, we're already on it. Well, so far, so good. I don't think all the trains are on the hill yet, right? This will be the test. Yep, they're all on there now. Yeah, we're making it fine. Great. Oh no! Get it back on there! No! Why did you break off? Oh, why are you? Oh. Getting stuck. So were we? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. Was there a flaw in the works? Yeah, we got some brakes on, so at least it's not gonna. Huh. Ah. Just gonna stay here so I don't get stuck in that train. All right. Well, it's just gonna go down there. Let me go see if I can get this guy. Yeah, I guess I need to jump over here. Now they were talking about the fact that if the car goes underwater, is where we couldn't re-rail it. Yeah, I don't know. Should I have been going slower? Like, of all things, like, I have no idea. Why would this one car just do that all of a sudden? That doesn't make to me, that doesn't make a ton of sense. Right, re-rail flat car. But anyway, they were saying the reason I had a problem before is because underwater, because it fell in that creek, because it fell in the creek, it was below the zero line in a sense. So I guess it would make sense that that was a thing, right? That could cause a problem. I'm not sure exactly why that would, but I'm sure there's some programming thing that would explain it. I've never tried to carry a car this far. Will it let me? Okay, it doesn't seem to be. Let me go back closer. Because it seems like it would be a big cheat if you know, that you would want to avoid. Huh. This you would think would be close. Oh, there we go. Yep, it's kind of a big cheat that you would want to avoid, apparently. Let me put this brake on, and then I have no idea if there's a link in there. Let's go check to see if there's a link in this one. There's no link there, so if I back down and reattach, let me just check here. Then I think I'm going to pause it, and then let me go just get this rehooked back up, and then we'll be prepared for another shot, you know? Yeah, we got a link in there. All right, no brake. Yeah, so was I just going too fast? Why did that derail? Be able to just lower my brake some. All right, let me pause it and I'll be right back. Yep, there we go. We're all reattached. It was a little bit of a pain because every time I bumped it, it kept going downhill. I finally set like 6 car brakes because we started getting on that hill. So I don't know. It will start from pretty much a dead stop right here and see if it goes, right? We'll give it some regulator just to get going. I put some more wood in. Yeah, I really honestly don't know why. Maybe I should take it off the 100. I mean, it's almost like we were going too fast. We'll put it on 90 and see what happens. '92. Now there's a fair amount of jiggling that seems to be coming from that tender car. Hope we make it around that turn. Yeah, now we're doing it at 90. Let's even back off a little bit more. Well, let's just leave it alone. It's going well enough, right? A little nervous about this turn causing a problem, but I think this is all pretty stable. You know, let's see. Even when I went to stop down there at one point, it was, you could tell it was, we're getting to the limits, right, of what it was designed for. It doesn't mean you can't push things. Like, you know, you could say, well, what are the limits of what a car is designed for? You say, well, like 200 miles an hour would be really kind of the limits, and then you have guys that go 800, right? So it's not like, so that's, for as many struggles as I feel like I have with 10 or 12 or 13 cars coming up these hills. I mean, we just plowed up that hill pretty darn well. maybe I'm underestimating the torque that these engines have. Boy, I have to load this thing. I mean, I know even just getting it unloaded is going to be quite an exercise. I just want to take this nice and easy and get it there. That's sometimes the problem in life. You try to carry too many groceries in the house and you just end up going slower than if you just took 2 trips because you're balancing stuff on your head. Cut it down to like 33 through here. I think all the switches are. Just came out of the yard. Did I flip that switch? These 2 are right. Did I flip the switch when I came back out of the yard? Yeah, are we going to have a problem coming around these turns? I hope not. Yeah, that's right. I had to flip the switch because I picked up my hopper cars. And that one straight ahead, I can't see it quite yet, but it's, I know I just came down this way. And then all of those should be set to go straight in. There we go. We made it past the worst part. I'm a little bit nervous about getting past all those switches, but I'm assuming I didn't lose one. I'm not counting all 18 of them. Let's see. Alright, well, not too bad at all. Not too bad. This turn, definitely want to improve this turn at some point. But if you had asked, it's kind of loud. Let me wait a second here. We'll be slowing down. Okay. We'll kind of just glide in here because we're just going to take it slow with this many rail cars. Steady wins the race. But what I was going to say a few minutes ago, was if all the things that I would have thought would have caused a problem, it wasn't going up that hill too fast, which is, I think, I mean, it's not way too fast, but obviously just being 100% on the throttle there seemed to have caused the problem, right? I went down to 92%. We shot right up it, so it seemed kind of odd to me that would be the thing, but that was the thing, which is great. So I have a lot of confidence that at least this thing can pull up the hill and that we're going to be able to make another round trip with 18 cars. So far we're not done, so I don't want to count my chickens before they're hatched, but they're awful. The eggs are ready. The eggs are ready to bust. We have to make it around turns like this too, I guess. One of the reasons to just kind of take it slow, see how things react to whatever turns we put them through. I think that's just cool that we built a system that has 18 cars being able to be hauled. I guess that's maybe one of the next things we could do would be just to keep ramping it up. At some point I want to take a break from the series, go do some other things, and at the same time let them do more, right? Because this is early access. I'll be disappointed if they don't proceed further with things. What am I doing? I'm driving right past the thing. Oh, good Lord. I'm just so happy. Oh, I know what I was doing. We're testing out how well they can go around this turn in both directions. Now, the other thing is I'd like to make a marker. I'll show you that's what I was going to do. I'm just thinking we had to go to this side for some reason. Drove right on past. I do that sometimes. You know what the worst is like if you drive some way to work every day. Not the worst, but something I tend to do a lot, fair amount. And then next thing you know, you need to go to the airport or something, and the work is near the airport. You just drive to work instead of actually taking the road to the airport. If you have to go right or straight, you end up going right back over to work. Now, we're probably getting pretty close, and I might want to cut down some of these trees to even be able to see. Let's just back around until we can see. Give it a little tiny bit of break. And I don't need to be able to see all the time because if I have my markers, but yeah, are we at the... Yeah, I feel like we're there. Yeah, let's stop. I'm going to take a look at what's going on. All right, so this has never really been marked out that well because I've never taken trains nearly this long. So we would be marking over here. We could see where we stopped kind of close. Actually, that was a pro stop again. Look at that. Off by one. Nothing wrong there, huh? So what I can do is notice that we need to pull up a little bit more. Now, we can get 3 cars done. So what I want to do is... do we want to start making these markers further out here where they would just be 3 cars? Now, notice that the mark is right on that tire or that wheel. So we're going to have to jump over to here at some point in order to put this marker Yeah, that one's good to go, but if we had to put one here, it needs to be out here. So let's, I'm going to do this. Yeah, constant grade's fine. I'm going to do this like that, and then just make it plenty wide. We go back and, all right, because I know I'm going to have to pull up at least one more car. You know what? Let's stop right there, even though that's ugly. Let's demolish some. Oops. Yeah, I wish I would really. It needs to. If it's going to change from the way you last left it, it should change to all. All right, so there we go. So now what we can do is we know that that car was right here, right, which is only a couple feet past the other, so that this should be a good mark. Except for we want to pull like forward more, like one more car, right? So if I did, this would be the second car. Then this would be where we would stop another time, right? Like, so I'm going to try to see if we can't set it up to do 3 cars at a time. Right, but I don't want to make a mark. Right, so if that was a car, then this would be a car marked here. That's 1. Can't really see it, but 2. And then the other one would be like up here, but no, I have to pull forward. So it's actually this. I know I'm being confusing to a degree, but I want to know that I'm on the third car, right? Got it, without deleting the under one. All right, so I want to pull up one more car length and then put another marker. I think that'll be right. Let's do. Oop, not whistle. How about brake? I should use the whistle more. I did think that at one point. Because I'm just not a whistling kind of guy. So I'll try to see the shadow there. Right, when that next car gets up to the shadow. I don't know if I'm going to... It's about the same spot on the shadow. Like, there. All right, let's see how close... That's spot on. So, right, 1, 2, 3. All right, so when we pull up to that mark, we should be in there. So let's go down and say, or at least close enough. And then what I'll do is I'll make a mark every 3, at least till we get back to here where we already have marks. And then once you're closer, it's a lot easier to... Now, is there a reason we would want more? I don't know. Do we have 1 set of marks or 2? Yeah, that's way further forward than we needed. We pulled 2 cars forward? Yeah, I don't know. Am I being too exacting? I think that's a good spot. Well, there we go, right? So we got a little bit of iron going. And we should have some coal, so we should be making more stuff. Yeah, so if anything, I think I have 2 issues. One is the length of these cars, whether you're like when they're not, if each car is pulled apart versus each car being bunched up, that's going to make a big difference over this whole length. So this was pretty much spot on. So what I was saying is that this would have been the car, but you know what? I think I may just go and work it out and figure it out after doing this. Just put a mark on every one. For those of you who don't know, I'm doing it on the opposite side because I'm setting this up to be for the further one, right? So this is further away, so it's the further one. not sure how much that matters on this particular. This is about a pain. You can delete this track, but I don't really want to. All right, this will have to do for now. Yeah, that one has one. Good. So in other words, like this is the opposite side, so it's, you know, like if you have two of these, but these should be pretty much in line. Now let's go see if we can back up 3 marks. At some point I'll just start unloading on my own here, and we're pretty much out of time at this point anyway, so I'll get this unloaded and head back up there and do another load. If something exciting happens, if there's newsworthy, I'll start a new episode at that point. All right, so now we want reverser. All right, let's just see what happens. This mark seems kind of wide, far apart. Let's see if we get back on the marks. That's 1. 2. All right, so when we do it that way, if everything like stretches out, is it going to be like too far down this end? And either way, it's nice to have those guidelines to put you in the ballpark, even if it isn't a perfect system. As you get into super long trains, let's just see what it looks like. Yeah, it should work. All right, should have 9. Yep, until it sucks one up. Now we should be making more. So this will be 54. So this should get us up to 100 steel pipes on the other side once this gets processed. Now, is that true? No, because I don't know if we have enough coal, but we'll be close, right? So we'll be to 100. So I have to take one more of these loads down. Hopefully everything goes well enough. And then we'll be ready for the next step, which will be to haul more coal. So I think I might bring the rest of the coal down here, because you guys have already seen a coal trip. But then that's the next trip, actually, I guess, is to go get more coal. So I have to bring another 13 cars up to the coal mine, and then I'll bring another 50 coal down to here, and then we'll pick up the story from there. So just 2 trips. And we've already seen those in past episodes. So it's nothing that I'm not showing you. So hopefully all of that goes relatively smoothly. And if it doesn't, I will be back to explain why it didn't go so well. So there we go. 18 cars of iron is very doable for us. And I'm excited. I hope you guys have a good day. I hope you've enjoyed it. Take care of yourselves. And bye-bye.